This lesson is a QRS complex. What are the normal QRS complex? Normal QRS complex represent the ventricular repolarization, mainly the left ventricular repolarization, as because the left ventricle is 2 to 3 times more mass than the right ventricle. QRS complex predominantly positive in the 1, AVL 5, 6 and negative is AVR, V1 and V2. If you look into the positive QRS complex, there is SR is greater than the S, and the negative QRS complex, there is the S is greater than R, and QRS complex biphasic is usually in the V3 and V4. It is the interventricular septum, and the transition point on the equiphasic QRS complex, where the R is equal to S, it is usually in the V3 or V4, and the normal duration of QRS complex is 0.028 second, 2.11 second, average is 0.10 second, is equal to 2.5 small square. Various form of QRS complex: Q wave, first negative deflection; R wave, first positive deflection; S wave, negative deflection followed by the R wave. Here is the most important is the RS. If is equal R equal to S, is called the equiphasic. There is the second is QS complex. QS complex is there is no R wave and persistent S wave. Now, what are the abnormalities of the QRS complex? Now we'll go through the different type of QRS complex. There is normal QRS complex and all others abnormal QRS complex. So low voltage QRS complex, high voltage QRS complex, narrow complex tachycardia, broad complex tachycardia, or it is called the narrow complex QRS complex, broad QRS complex, wide QRS complex, ventricular alternance or electrical alternance, variable QRS complex, change in the shape, and delta wave and epsilon waves. Now, what are the normal QRFs? We are already gone through the normal QRFs. Now, here we go through the low voltage QRFs. What are the mean low voltage QRFs? Low voltage QRFs means that lymph node, if the lymph node is the height of the R wave, or positive deflection is less than 5 mm, and the chest lead is less than 10 mm. What are the causes of low voltage QRS complex? Incorrect calibration, thick chest wall, obesity, hypothyroidism, pericardial effusion, hypothermia, chronic constrictive pericarditis, emphysema. What are the causes of high voltage QRS complex? Incorrect calibration, thick chest wall, ventricular hypertrophy, WPW syndrome, and true posterior myocardial infarction. And particularly in the true posterior myocardial infarction is the lead in the V1 and V2. There is a high voltage QRS complex. Now is our go to the narrow complex. What are the narrow complex? Now, normal duration. Let's see the normal duration of QRS complex. Normal duration is QRS complex 0.02 a 0.08 millisecond, 2.01 second. If it is less than 0.06 second, then it is called the narrow complex. If it is more than 0.01, it is the broad complex, wide complex QRS complex. What are the causes of narrow complex tachycardia? Narrow complex tachycardia is the SVT, supraventricular tachycardia, atrial tachycardia, atrial fibrillation, atrial flutter. What are the broad complex tachycardia? Ventricular tachycardia, WPW syndrome, SVT with aberrant conduction. What are the causes of wide QRS complex? Now, this is the bone. This broad QRS complex is also is the wide QRS complex. The first three is encoded with the wide QRS complex. Now, wide QRS complex, what does the mean the wide QRS complex? Wide QRS complex means that if the duration of QRS complex is more than 0.01 second, is the more than 3 small square. What are the causes? Last three causes: the VT, SVT, the aberrant conduction, and WPW syndrome. And other causes is ventricular ectopic, idioventricular rhythm, ventricular hypertrophy, hyperkalemia, WPW syndrome is already we go through, bundle branch block, pacemaker, drug. What are the drugs? Quinine, procainamide, phenothiazine, tricyclic antidepressant. Now summarize what are the causes of wide QRS complex? Ventricular tachycardia, SVT, the aberrant conduction, WPW syndrome, ventricular ectopic, idioventricular rhythm, ventricular hypertrophy, bundle branch block, hyperkalemia, drug, pacing. What are the drugs? Quinine, procainamide, phenothiazine, tricyclic antidepressant. Now we go to what are the causes of variable QRS complex. Variable QRS complex are the three causes: the ventricular fibrillation, torsade de pointes, and multifocal ventricular ectopic. What are the change? Now see change of the QRS complex. The bundle branch block, there is the M pattern or W pattern, ventricular tachycardia, ventricular fibrillation, hyperkalemia, WPW syndrome. So what are the causes of the change of QRS complex? There's bundle branch block, ventricular tachycardia, ventricular fibrillation, WPW syndrome, hyperkalemia. Now, what are the causes? What are the ventricular alternates or the electrical alternates? Alteration of the height of the QRS complex in every other